Okay, I think we're live, hopefully. So, today we're doing another stream on Sybil. The last one was a bit of a wash. I was very tired and trying to figure stuff out with Warp. But I've got a preliminary version working with a Svelte front end, talking to SurrealDB. It's pretty neat. It's very, very early days. There's a lot of functionality. This is, I think, a proof of concept, it's fair to say. But I generally find in my projects that works quite well, that if you get the basic parts of the functionality working, then you can build on that, and then you can add functionality once you have a basis there. So let's see what I have so far. So this is the basic website. It's just it's a Svelte app that's being served, and what you can do is, let's do this. I'll do stream note 1. You click add here, and then you click update. Obviously, this will be automated, but it has an ID which is generated. It has the timestamp, and then it has some text. And the idea is you'll be able to add categories, tags, types, sources, other metadata. And I'm also thinking of a way to have structured data. So for example, to be able to store contacts and people and other things and then link them together. So having having a field where you can store an object and key value, things like that. And that where you could create custom types. So I'm thinking about how to do that, but at the moment you make notes and then you submit them and then you update them. And yeah, so that's the basic site as it is now. So then here is the code. Yes, this is the right thing. I'm a bit behind on GitHub, but I will make sure that it is committed if people want to have a look at the code. It is just on my GitHub. I'll add try and add the link to the description. So the way that it's working at the moment is that it's serving it using Warp, and that mostly seems to be fine, and I've basically got that finished. But there's one annoyance which I can't seem to fix. Maybe somebody out there knows a better way. I've tried asking various places, but that hasn't not much has come of that so far. Maybe a way to do it. But basically, what I would want to do is that you connect to the site and you just need the IP address and the port, and you don't need to add any / whatever. I'm not sure whether you noticed here, but it's an 5000/site, which is a bit annoying to me. But whenever I use either the root here or there's end path, there's a separate filter in one, it just doesn't work. I don't know why. Serving a folder, so that is a bit annoying. But other than that, it seems to work pretty well. At least in this version, it just run it as a local thing, so I'm not too worried about the speed. But I've been looking at Axum, and that might be better, but I'm not sure. Not too worried about that for now. So the what I'm done for now is basically the way that it works is that when you start it up, it initiates this state variable which holds this inner state type, which is just a struct. At the moment it stores a database connection, but in the future you could add anything else to it. It's always a problem of how modular to make things, but I try to make it so it's relatively easy to add a new thing. So hopefully if I add a new thing to this inner state type, it won't wreck everything else if I'm just not using that field. Anyway, so they're just behind an arc. And then what happens is I make the WebSocket route, and this is one of the things what you kind of have to go through 2 steps, because you have to handle the HTTP request, then it upgrades, then you have to send it to a separate WebSocket handler. So that's a bit of a fiddle, but basically I deal with all of that. I inject the state in, which is in a separate utility function, Then I set up the static root, then I combine them together, and I set them on port 5000, and that there's on 0000, which means that I can see it across the LAN. Though I could also use VS Code port forwarding, which I found out about recently, which is really neat, because I'm working on another project, which may make a stream about sometime, or you'll possibly see other things, which I'm also using in Svelte, and I'm developing on that on another server. And for a while, I couldn't get it to make it visible to the LAN. It's really stupid, but when you're doing the command, if you put dash dash, I'll show you. In the in here, if you go npm run dev, then it serves it on localhost. So add dash dash host to expose. So you think, okay, that's great. I go dash dash host, and then it's still on localhost, so you can't see it, so it doesn't work, which is, I think, a bit daft. I just leave that running, so then the live update works, even though when even if you're serving in through some other server, the live hot reloading still works, which is very neat. So, and then now it is forwarding that port, which is neat. But if I might make a separate video about this, because very annoying. But if you go into the package.json and you can edit this command, and then you add it in there, and then no, different one. In here you add the host 0.0.0.0 in there, and then it works. Bit annoying, but doesn't matter for this project. But I might make a separate video about that. Anyway, so that's how it works. The static root is fairly simple, but let's follow the chain of the WebSocket one. So the first thing we do is we have this add state function, which is just this filter which just moves the state and it clones it. And because it's behind an arc, it just it only clones the reference. It doesn't actually clone the stuff that's in there. So that means it doesn't call clone on the data store or the connection or anything else that might be in there. That stays in one place. It's all just behind an arc. Let's see, and then we go to this WebSocket handler, and all that does is on the upgrade it just passes the socket to the connection along with the state. And this is where the real meat of the function is. Let me make that slightly bigger. Sorry if you couldn't read anything before. Okay. So this takes the WebSocket and the state, and then this is still needs some more work. This is what I'm planning to do, is to create a channel with a receiver, and then have a separate thread so I can pass out instances of that channel, then again forwarded along the WebSocket or something like that, because it's a bit kludgy at the moment. But the way that it works is there's this main loop, and it if the message is a sum, because it returns an option, and then we match on that. If it's okay, then we do that, otherwise it's an error. And then we look at what type of messages. It's very annoying, you can't actually, as far as I can tell, you can't match on the message type, because it's an inner type which is private. I don't know. Anyway, it's a bit annoying, but so you have to, as far as I can tell, you have to chain these if-elses. So if it's text, then I have handle text message. If it's binary, say it's not supported and just skip past it. And if it's a closed message, then just return out of that. I got some weird things with that shouldn't make any difference, but whatever. It's there. If you get a closed message, you should finish. So then all we do is we this handle text message returns an option of a message as the reply, and then if that's some, then we send it, and if that's okay, do nothing, otherwise print the error sending it. The problem doing it this way is that if I receive one message, I can only send one message back, which is why what I probably want to do is give the handling function for that message something which it can then send messages either directly or through some kind of relay. The problem with that is then if one message takes a bunch of processing and doesn't return back, and then another message comes in, then it won't work. So then what I think you probably have to do is then create another task and then have that working, and then you can keep going over the loop, which is fine. But that I need to change that. So this is the way it works for now. So for the handle text message, we turn the message into a string and unwrap that. Possibly further down the line, proper error handling, etc., but that's fine for now. And then we try and parse that into JSON. For now, everything's JSON. So if it's not, then it's none. There's no response. It's an invalid message. So then we turn that into a request, which is of this rec struct. So the way that I'm implementing this is not necessarily the best way to do it, but I was doing some experimentation, and this seems like a decent way to do it, is basically to have this enum and the different kinds of requests that you would want to do in the database get deserialized into these different variants of the enum, and then you can pattern match on those, and then it's and then that's good. So I've got the create and read. That's the classic CRUD thing. There might be better names for it, but that seems pretty good for now. And obviously I can add more further things down the line. So I'll show you what the JSON actually looks like that you send to this. But this is the basic idea. So at the moment we have, for a create request, we have the text, which is a string, and for the read request you have text search, which is never read as it says, so it doesn't do anything, but that's option because you don't have to have that. But you have to have the create request for the text at the moment. Though one of the things that I was thinking of doing, so you don't lose data, is that when you create a note or an item or whatever, it creates it, gets an ID back, and then instead of building everything up in the state of the browser and then sending it off in one request, every time you make enough of a change, it updates that record, and then it's just in a draft mode. So it says, I'm going to update this draft, update, and then when you click add, then it just switches it to public, and all the information is already there. So that means that if it crashes or whatever, there's whatever power cut or whatever happens, that's not lost, and you can then go back, reconnect, and then it will just say you have unfinished drafts, and then that seems like a nice way to do it. But for now, you need the text to add to it. So then I have separate functions for that. So we match on that. At the moment, other things aren't implemented. But if it's a create request, then we take that and we pass it to the handle create, and we await that. And what that does is it takes it makes the variables. Which is a binary tree map, which is how you pass key value pairs into SurrealDB. So it's not actually part of the query, which also means that you shouldn't have to worry about SQL injections, because that's never parsed as SQL. It parses the SQL and then it just takes that from the binary tree and sticks it in the database. It never gets parsed as SQL, which is nice. So hopefully that means that SQL injections are basically impossible, though you never know. So we basically create this. We take the text from the request, and then we package it up into this strand type, which is what the SurrealDB uses internally. I've a feeling that this where a helper function could be useful, but c'est la vie. And then we take the database connection or the data store connection from the state, and then I've made this execute helper methods on this. So effectively, what this is basically just a wrapper around the execute method on the data store itself, which comes from is just part of SurrealDB. But the nice thing I like about this way is you just have one async function that just executes it with the things you just pass it the things you care about, and that data store connection rather has a mutex to the data store, which it then locks and awaits, and then it automatically adds the session, and then you can pass, and then you just pass it the text and the variables. So I think that's nice, and at some point I might even abstract over that I have an add item function, which you just pass it the things that are in the item, and then it calls the execute method in itself. But I think this is a nice way of doing it for now. It just basically is just a wrapper over it, but allows you to do it on the data store connection without having to worry about, well, I need to lock and await this, and then I need to add this here. It just simplifies it, I think. So I do that, and then I just pass in create item set time created equals now, and then text equals $text. So this is this $text here means that when it's parsing it, it will then look for this text key in the binary tree map, and so it will add that, and then I just await and unwrap it. And then none at the moment, though one of the next things I'm going to do, because if you remember, here we are, when I add another note, nothing happens, and then I have to update. But one of the things I want to do is, so it will send, when you have a more sophisticated query, it will cache the query, and then when you update a note, it will send that query back, and so in the Svelte page it will update all of that, and so those changes will appear instantly. Well, as soon as they're done. But that's how that works for now. And then for the handle read, it just takes the it takes the database connection and calls execute exactly the same, except here it's just select all from item, because that's what we care about for now. Waits and unwraps that, and then we unpack that. I've talked about this in some of my previous SurrealDB streams, that there's a lot of different ways that the SurrealDB response is packaged, because you have these value enums, and then you have an array, and then you have one that's an enum that has another array in, and then you have various different stages you need to unwrap them. And anyway, you can watch that one, and I'm planning to make a more scripted video talking about that. But basically, this is, you could have multiple responses. Then this the output reveals the inner result type of a wrapper around it. So that reveals that, and then we can unwrap on that, so that's fine. And then this select result should be an array. So we get it's an array branch of the value enum. So we take that out, and then we can iterate it or whatever. In this case, we're just turning that into, we're just serializing that, because that's fine. That's an array. That's all we want. We just send that back. So that's pretty simple. So hopefully it makes sense how that works. And I'll go over the Svelte page as well. So that's all the Rust side, and then I have a separate thing in here. There's some other things I was trying to do. But basically, I've been trying to think about what it should do if the WebSocket closes, but I'll deal with that later. But at the moment, what it does is it just opens a WebSocket, then it adds some event listeners. So on the WebSocket open, it logs that it's requested, and it changes the status to open, which is used elsewhere, and then it takes the and then it sends the read. So I should say this is how it works. So in the read one, and then if there were options, they would be put in here. So then this gets turned into the read variant of that enum, with this symbolizing that struct, which has nothing in it. Which seems like a slightly, in some sense, it seems like a slightly inelegant way to do it. I had before that I had a command that was had a command field, and then I had other things, but I mean, I'm not sure, there might be some Sere magic you could do there, but it seems just a really elegant way to do it like this, and then it's very clear that it turns into an enum which you can then match up. Anyway, so when it receives a message, it parses the data as JSON, and then it puts them into items, which, sorry, I should have said have been initialized up here. So that means if I send a message back from the one that you write, that it will update automatically. So basically, whenever it receives a WebSocket message, it just updates the items. And then that's just when it closes, which isn't, I don't think it's doing much at the moment. So that's just saying if the WebSocket is closed, which doesn't really matter for now. So all the update button does is it sends a read message on the WebSocket. This is fairly self-explanatory. Then, though, this down the line there'll be more search terms, which is one of the big things. So then the way that I've done this table here is, and then this is add. So sorry, I should have mentioned this first. So I have the input, which I then bind the value to this variable using Svelte's easy two-way binding. That doesn't need to be two-way, but whatever. And then I say that when you click the button, it then sends the message of create, and then the value for that is this. And I suppose, actually, I was thinking that also means doing it this way, it's easy. It would be might be easier to include multiple commands, but whatever they were. So we create, and then that's just on the add button there. So then on the for the table, at the moment there's just 3 table headers. There'll be a lot more in the future, and do things so you can hide and add and move them, whatever. But at the moment we just have the 3 table headers, and then we use using an each. So we take each items, which is this thing at the remember, which is set on the read events. So then we just make a table row with each of the table things with those. And then I've just added this bit of thing here, makes the table not look horrible, which, at least to my eye, all the full HTML tables look pretty awful. Good, so that's sort of where it is now. I think it's pretty neat. It needs quite a ways to go, but I think it's I think it's a pretty good start. So what I will do now is I need to go in here, database. Right, that's better. Trying to yeah, so the main thing I've done here is Svelte site. So, yes. Well, I've already seen what the JSON looks like. So, might try. What's the next thing? So there's a few things that could do. This I think is unnecessary because this was an earlier test version, so I think I can get rid of that. So maybe it would be a good idea to see if we can expand it. So now the thing is with the sync side of it, I'm not sure whether if I go could I go what's how do you is it spawn and then I don't remember, is it in here if I just go test and then oh well, if I do test dot send dot await oh well, this is I have managed to make async closures work at some point, but they confuse me. So, seems like it might work. I'm not sure if you I don't know if you I don't think you need to add something some kind of synchronization on top. Only two. Well, we'll see if it works. I don't know if I need a anyway, I'll try, because where's the, if I look at where's send, okay, I'm not sure. Well, I'll just see if this works. Otherwise, I think it should be fairly easy to switch that over. So what I'm going to do is here I've got I use this, then I send the reply. And instead, I'm going to do, let me just, so in here, what I might do is I might just edit this quickly so it prints the message out. And then if I do print reply and then much better. Okay. So now wait for this to compile, which takes a while. Oh, that right. Yeah, I still haven't been able to make it compile, make SurrealDB compile on Windows. There's a PR that I saw in Windows compilation instructions, but I can't make them work. I really tried, but downloading sketchy things from 20 years ago. Yeah, it seems like that. I might have another look at the GitHub integration testing release server thing, because apparently they have it working on there and they do tests and stuff on it. And the Windows SurrealDB executable, which works just fine, isn't cross-compiled. It is compiled on Windows, but hell if I know how. Okay. Let's try this. If we refresh, I've also switched it to memory. It's very easy to switch it to a persistent one, but just so stream test add update. Now, yes, that is good. So now, even if we don't see it over there, we should be able to see it down here. So what I want to do is I want to get rid of all of this, but then I want to do Tokyo spawn, and then what I want to do is handle text message, and then state.clone. Excellent. Okay, good. So let us try. Anyway, and you can see here now it says Websocket disconnected, though it doesn't automatically reconnect. But what I was trying to do is make it so that when you sort of re-clicked onto the page, that it would try again. But it's very annoying because what I found is that this document.hasFocus works brilliantly. It works exactly how I want it to. No problems at all. But I couldn't figure out how to add an event listener for it, which is rather annoying. Anyway, back to this. So if I refresh this, go update, test, add update. Good. Okay, but now what I need to do is I need to add this, the sync to it, so I can actually send a message. So if I do here, if I go, and then this is going to be split sync. And then the S is going to be Websocket, and the item is going to be a message. Then we are happy. And I shall copy this line, and I shall add it to here. And read, I shall add it to here. And now yes, very good. But all I do here is I just go WS. Oh wait, what was that? Where's it now? Ah, so then I want here. I want dot clone. Oh. Huh? Oh. I'm sure that. Huh. That's very bizarre. Okay. So what I need to do is I need to set up another channel, which I can then, let me try and, it was in one of, I saw some things about this in one of the warp examples, so let me see. Some of the examples. Let's see what we can find. Is this what I'm looking for? No, this is not what I want. So here they have an unbounded I'm pretty sure they. So all right, here we are. So unbounded channel, and then why do you have to do that with the what does unbounded receiver stream do above the right? But then basically it then takes the it takes each one and then it just forwards them. Okay, so let's try that. So I'll just, and then that and then that transmitter can be cloned, I think. So if I do let me just try and find where it's cloned. Oh well, I suppose if this whole user's struct is cloned, then all of the Contender's going to be cloned. Okay, well, let's just try this. So if I let txrx equal mpsc unbounded channel, that's good. And then I want, so let's try unbounded receiver stream. Is that still a thing? Maybe that's just his old. No, it's one of these wrappers. So what does unbounded what does that actually do? Well, it's in the wrappers, but we can. So unbounded receiver. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so what about the, how do we go to, because it's in, oh, Tokyo stream. So where's Tokyo stream? So in the wrapper, what does an unbounded? Here we are. So it might just be the unbounded receiver stream. So can you not? Well, it says this is to they're just wrappers. Well. Well, let's see if it works without this. So then, if this doesn't work, then we can just add that. But where is it? So then, what's it? Because that's using, what's the difference between spawn versus task spawn? Right, so what's the... Oh, no, that's not what I want. Okay, so what's the Tokyo spawn? I think they're the same. Yeah. Is one just a... Oh yeah, that's okay. So it must just be a re-export. Okay, that's good. So Tokyo's spawn, and then I want async move, and then in here I'm going to do, so here I want that well, let's sum next, and then dot await, and then I'm going to take that transmitter dot send message. Just unwrap for now. Do I need to do the unwrap or else? Okay. I'll just print. I need to do some more sorry, I'm saying need to do some more stuff on logging at some point. Next exists for strike prints trade bounds are not satisfied. Okay, so now if we try this, can it? No, it doesn't. Is Tokyo, if I use Tokyo stream, no. Okay, so let me go cargo add Tokyo stream. Come on. Anyway, so when this is done, then we should then be able to pass, just keep cloning that transmitter and pass that to anything that needs to send anything. And then I think that will probably, then I'll add it so it sends excuse me, it resends everything after you add on. Oh, okay, that's fine. So, oh, much happy, but slightly happier now. Are you able to? Just go. You want wrappers? Happy now? Why don't you? Okay, oh yeah, that's fine, that's what we're fixing. But is there for... Oh, that's fine, okay, I can fix that. So... here now, do we need to await that? Yes, I think we do. Because the send... okay. So... Okay. So now, all we need to do is switch... Where are we? The split sync to unbounded sender. And get rid of this, and then copy that, and then paste that there. And I'm going to, I'll just call that TX. And also, and this is also going to be, oh wait, unbounded sender message. Oh, that's a nice autocomplete there. Good. Okay, it seems much happier now. So I also think I can get rid of this. Well, I'll just wait and let's make sure it works first. Okay, so then let's just do on the handle read. Why did I comment this out? That's odd. Oh, sorry, no, that's fine. It's because I haven't, that's for the search checks. Okay. So here, instead of just returning reply, what I then want to do is tx.send reply, and then I think I need to await that. Mismatch types. Oh, wait. Oh. Right. And then, for now, I need to fix it. Result is not a feature. Oh, so then how do you, okay. Let's see how, should also look in the docs, but in the, so is the, is it synchronous? Is it blocking? So if we have unbounded sender and where's send? Oh yeah, but it's not. Oh well. I guess that's fine. So just okay, I'll just do that for now because it's fine. Okay, and then I'll just for now. Okay, so let's try compiling again and see if it works. Wouldn't it be marvelous if it did? Come on. The problem is that it's not, the compilation isn't very multi-threaded if it's just stuck on one file going away at it. Oh, that is the wrong. Oh well. Okay, here is. So now, if we then go new. Ah, it works. Excellent. Okay, so I think that is progress. So I'll call it there for today. The this I think shows how sort of the basic things of how it works. I think next time maybe start dealing with more how we interact with the oh, actually I said I was going to do this, didn't I? So for now, let me just I'm just going to, so the select, this is from read and handler sends back rows with changes. Okay. So that should obviously be abstracted in a different function, and then part of the state should be the last read request. So then I think what I'll probably just do is I'll just cache the read request, and then I'll just call the handle read every time, and so everything will act as a read. Maybe I'll add a flag so if there's some case where you don't need that anyway. Like if you're just updating a draft, you don't need to because it's not visible. Oh, I need to recompile. Yeah, I might look at some time what exactly is taking time to compile. I mean, it's something to do with using code from SurrealDB. But I mean, I'm not sure. I need to look more into Rust compilation, but I don't know whether it's doing these separately. Then I don't know if it would help if I made it so there was no. No, in the file that I'm changing, there's no actual code from SurrealDB. But I'm never entirely sure how much incremental compilation in Rust there actually is. Okay, so let's try this. So new, and if I add, there we are. Okay, so I feel like progress has been made. And these aren't ordered properly, but we can work on that at some other point. I think progress has been made, explanation has been done. So hopefully I will make another, do another stream soon. Hopefully going into more of the searching, and the thing I'm really excited for, which is the categories and the tags, because that I hope and I think SurrealDB will make so much easier. So I'm very excited for that. I hope you are as well. So stay tuned for that and some more scripted explanation videos, and I will